Okay, YouTubers, this is the Angry Prepper. This episode's going to be on how to stay warm during your winter outings. Now, like I said, I've had a couple of stories. I have slept out. My coldest was minus 27 degrees. That was the coldest temperature I have ever slept in. And I was pretty warm. Just with the gear I had and the fire I had going, I was good. And meaning I was out in a lean-to shelter, right? It was a lean-to shelter I built from tarps. I did a haversack video, a haversack outing video about last year, I think. I'll put the link now. And that outing wasn't that cold. I think it was about minus 17, maybe a little warmer than that actually. I'll get you the correct temperature now. So anyway, nonetheless, I slept in cold weather. And I know what it's like to sleep in cold weather. So there were little things I did to stay warm. Now, my first winter outing when I was probably 16, 17 years old, I pretty much shivered myself to sleep. I went outdoors with a summer bag. Stupid. It reached 32 degrees and shivering the whole night. The guy I went out with, he handed me a space blanket. If a lot of you remember what those were, they are Mylar blankets now, but they were called space blankets back then. And I shoved it in my sleeping bag, went to sleep, woke up. Next outing, I had winter gear, right? So make sure you have the correct gear when you're going out in the wilderness. I'll say it again. I said it before. I will say it again. The wilderness will kill you, right? Especially during the winter time. That is not a place to play around with summer gear and summer clothing. Get yourself winter gear when you're going out in the wilderness during the winter time. Wool blankets, wool clothing, synthetic material, nylon or polyester, hats, blended materials like cotton and wool. Those things are going to keep you warm. Those are the items that'll keep you warm through the night. A nice wool blanket like I have here. This is actually an alpaca wool. It's lighter than regular wool, but it sheds. That's the only downside to this. It actually sheds, but it's lighter to carry. It kept me warm through the night. During the winter months where it goes below zero, I carried 2 of these. And now I'm really warm. I don't have to worry about anything. What sucks about winter time is getting out of the blanket to go use the bathroom. Now, if I'm in a tent, I'm obviously going to use a bottle. But if I'm sleeping in a lean-to, that's a little hard to do. I still have to get up regardless. So I get up and I walk away from the fire. I go behind the fire that is, and then use the bathroom. Now, we're going to get in the fire a little later, but clothing, what you wear at night, is going to make the difference, right? So I usually wear wool like thermals as well, right? Wool socks, wool thermals. I change out my socks at night. I put on thicker, drier socks at night, and I sleep in that, and I sleep in either 2 wool blankets, or if it's, if I'm being lazy, I'll take my below zero sleeping bag. That's going to keep you warm, right? Your gear, the clothing is the first, I would say, defense in keeping you warm. I forgot about hats. Hats are also a necessity out there. You need to have a hat when you go out in the wilderness, right? Whether it's a wool cap or a wool brim hat, a wool lined brim hat, get yourself a hat, right? If you're going to wear a brim hat, make sure you have something for your ears, right? Because your ears will definitely fall off when it gets too cold. So do yourself a favor and get ear muffs, right? Or one of those beanie hats, those synthetic like nylon polyester beanie hats to pull down over your ears. And then you can wear your brim hat. If you're really hard up on wearing a brim hat, that is. You can even use a scarf. Some guys wrap it around their heads and then they put the hat over. You can do that as well. So hat's a necessity. You need a hat and you need a scarf or something to block the wind out of your face as well. Again, all of that is going to keep you warm. Shelter systems, tents, sleeping bags, hammocks, and tarps. Now, when I slept out in the wilderness, out in, I think it was minus 27, I had a tarp, right? So I was pretty much out in the open. I did have a fire in front of me with a wall behind the fire, a reflector wall, reflected the heat back into the, and in the shelter, and I was good. Was I toasty warm? No, but I was warm, okay? You watch a lot of those videos, people are like, I'm toasty warm. There's no way you're toasty warm. It is cold. There is no playing around with that. You have a nice little tent. You have one of those yucca candles in there that keep you warm. That's great. It actually works. But sleeping out under a tarp, that sucks. I mean, and not that it sucks. I like it, but you are cold at some point, especially when the fire dies down. When you wake up in like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you look over and your fire's dwindling. Not that you panic, you're like, shit, I gotta get it started, and you start throwing wood on it. Then it builds up again, you get warm, you fall back asleep. You're doing this like for the rest of the night. That's why it's good to pick slow burning wood to give you more time asleep, so that when you do wake up, you're doing it every 2, 3 hours versus every hour. So tarps are great, but you have to know what you're doing with a tarp. You can't sleep in a tarp in cold weather like that if you don't know what you're doing. I advise against it. If you're looking to start sleeping in the wintertime, start off with a nice sleeping bag, below zero sleeping bag, and a 4-season tent. Those are two must if you're looking to get into outdoor camping during the wintertime. Nice sleeping bag. I use a Teton. I did a review video on a Teton sleeping bag that I sleep in. I think it's the XXL. That is a great sleeping bag, especially for someone as big as me. You can go with something smaller. You could definitely go with something lighter, right? Because they make a lot of sleeping bags now. I mean, I'm surprised at how light they get and how warm they keep you. Look into those, but be warned, you're going to drop some serious money in those sleeping bags. Hammocks. I sleep in the Jungle Clark hammock. That is like the end-all be-all hammock for me. It's a true 4-season hammock. It kept me warm. I think the coldest I've slept in that was probably in the 20s, if I'm not mistaken. Right, so it wasn't too cold, but I was nice and warm inside. Right. Again, the only thing about a hammock is that I haven't mastered the technique of going in the bathroom in a hammock like that. So nonetheless, I have to get out, break the heat, break the seal, let the heat out. Then I have to start all over again when I get back inside. But I'm learning how to perfect a couple techniques when I'm in a hammock as far as using the bathroom. Fires. Fires are very important if you're going to sleep out in the open, right? If you're going to use a lean-to or an A-frame, maybe even a debris hut, you have to learn how to start or build different types of fires to sleep in these kind of shelters, right? Not all fires are equal, right? You might want to start a smaller fire in front of your A-frame, right? Making sure you don't catch anything else on fire. You might want to, with a lean-to fire, you're going to start a long fire, right? So long fire is about the length of your body, and that reflects the most heat in, especially if you build a wall to the length of that fire, and you reflect the heat in, that's going to keep you warm, right? If you're sleeping in a debris hut, there are methods like using coal, right? Getting a hot fire going and using the hot coals and putting it underneath in the dirt as you set up the debris hut. That's a lot of work, though. I mean, it's a lot of work, but it does keep you warm. I did pocket holes, right? So I built pocket holes in the debris hut around where I slept. I threw some hot coal in there. I buried it, and it kept me warm for part of the night until it just got way too cold, unbearable actually. I had to get out of the debris hut and head into the tent. I did a video on that. I'm gonna put the description or the link to that now. Water bottles. Water bottles are very, very good. Now, I slept out in, I think it was below freezing. It might have been like 30 degrees or 29 degrees. And I was sleeping outside. I had the Isosphere by Snug Pack, that little one-man tent, and it was cold outside. So I boiled some water, I poured it in a plastic bottle, I put it in the foot of my sleeping bag, and had because I came out with the wrong sleeping bag. That was the other thing. I messed up on that one. That was a few years ago. So I put the hot water bottle in the foot of my sleeping bag, had the hot water bottle on my foot, the bottom of my foot, and I was warm the whole night. I got so warm I had to kick the bottle away. But nonetheless, it kept me warm. And then it also works as a double duty as heating up your bag as well inside. So if you're going to use a metal bottle, this is just a note. If you're going to use a metal bottle, make sure you wrap a sock around that metal bottle so you don't burn yourself. The plastic is not as bad, but a metal water bottle, that's really hot. So you're gonna have to put like a sock around it and then put it in the bottom of your bag by your foot. It also insulates some of the heat, and it cools off a lot slower with a sock around the water bottle. Last but not least, exercise. Now, when people say exercise before you get in your sleeping bag, do not run a marathon, don't jog around the camp. Walk around the camp, do a couple push-ups, do a couple jumping jacks. Don't break any sweat. Just do it until you feel yourself getting warmer, and then jump in your bag. My favorite go-to is the push-up. right? The push-ups, especially if I'm laying in a lean-to, it's easier to do. Or in my tent, it's easier to do, right? Do some push-ups, and you jump in the bag, and you're warm for a long period of time. Now, and like I said, a walk, jumping jacks, even squats, right? Just simple air squats, no weight, just air squats up and down, and you're gonna start generating that heat. You're gonna feel it. You jump in your sleeping bag, you're good to go. Let the fire carry you through part of the night as well, and the water bottle at the bottom, and you should be fine. You shouldn't have a problem. In a hammock, the water bottle is not going to work because of the way the hammock is, designed and shaped. Water bottle is going to be laying at your hip by the time you're done. So there are other methods like putting it between your legs, putting it under your arm. That's going to keep you warm as well. Those are the thinner skin entry points for heat to keep you warm, if I said that right. Your foot, in between your thighs, under your arms, even in the back of your neck, will keep you warm. Hand warmers are another great feature to have, right? I throw hand warmers in my bag in the winter outings before I get into the bag. So the thing with hand warmers, though, you have to keep in mind is the oxygen is what heats it up. So you can't close the bag completely. You have to leave it just cracked enough so that the air is getting in and heating up the hand warmers or foot warmers and heating up your bag as well. All right, guys, so this is the Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching. You can like and subscribe to this channel. You can also like and subscribe to my urban channel. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, and Twitter. And if you are into photography, you can head over to my Angry Lensman channel and like and subscribe to that channel if you're into photography. All right, guys, thank you for watching.